You guys are awesome. I do a show called Archer and one called Please Sign Us Anyway. Today I'm doing this panel for the boys on Amazon Prime, and I gotta tell you right now, I'm so fucking excited about this show. Now, I just want to say something to you. If you're here with your kids, you're a terrible person. If you haven't read the source material for the show, it is a mature set of books, and this is a mature show. We've done our best to bleed some of the language out of the clips that you're going to see, but I'm just going to add them back in right now by saying it's a fucking grown-up show, okay? So, if you're easily offended, please bounce. Don't take it personally. And right now, we're going to take a look at a very special first scene from The Boys, and then we're going to meet the cast and crew of this extraordinary show. So check this out. Welcome to the world of the 70s. Comic by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. And The Boys is an anti-superhero franchise revolving around a group of vigilantes known informally as The Boys, who set out to take down corrupt superheroes with no more than blue-collar grit and a willingness to fight dirty. The show represents the evolution of the popular superhero genre, depicting a world in which superheroes embrace the darker side of their massive celebrity and fame, and are hardly the public protectors that they may appear to be at first. In the end, it's up to us to save ourselves. It's like your mama say, "Who will love you if you don't love yourself?" Okay, that's just my mom. All right, this show is executive produced by Eric Kripke, who you may know from tiny little show called Supernatural. This thing. And Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen, who you may also have heard of. And the 8-episode, 1-hour drama is released globally 1 week from today, July 26th on Amazon Prime. We're going to be chatting with the creative minds and the cast behind this incredible new show. So, before we start, I want you guys to make sure that you have all the social stuff for this show. You can follow The Boys on Facebook and all of the platforms at The Boys TV. Hashtag is The Boys TV. And now, let's bring out our team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, executive producers Eric Kripke and Seth Rogen! And welcome to the stage, The Boys, Carl Urban as Billy Butcher, as Huey Campbell, Karen Fukuhara as the female, Liza Alonso as Mother's Milk, and Samantha Cohen as Frenchie. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage from the 7, Elizabeth Shue as Madeline Stillwell, Stephanie Usher as E-Train, Aaron Moriarty as Starlight, Anthony Starr as Hellraiser, and Chase Crawford as the Team.
San Diego, how are you?
Carl, it's so American. Right before we start, I understand that Seth and Eric, you guys have some news that you want to share with our Comic-Con crowd here.
Oh, I mean, it's a funny thing to announce. We're literally halfway through filming the second season of The Boys. So, they're not only really the second season, we're in the middle of making it.
These guys all flew in from Toronto, where they are filming the second season. So when you tune in this Friday, know that there's already a second season in the works to enjoy. Also want to announce, like, one of the stars of second season will be Aya Cash, brilliant and talented, who will be playing a superhero named Stormfront. And tune in at some point in 2020 for the second season.
That's what we do here at Comic-Con, bring you news that you can't use for 2 years.
That's it.
If there is a 2020, right?
Just put the show on like your phones or something. We don't ever get it on Amazon Prime. All right, I want to say I've watched every episode of the show. I love it. I love it. I do it. I'm not doing that just because I'm up here and I work here and stuff like that. And they're paying me a lot of money. No, I'm joking. I'm here because I love the show. It's an incredible, incredible show. And I think it does what people try to do with the anti-superhero show in a much more elegant and thoughtful way. It's like a great ride, but with really, really smart ideas at the core. Not just about fame and wealth and how it distorts people's perception of themselves and how they see the world, but also about how how they behave around people that are less powerful than themselves. Tell us a little bit about the show and your vision for the show, Eric and Seth. Like, why did you want to adapt these books?
I mean, I think it started with just wanting to take the piss out of the superhero genre a little bit. That was just sort of the fun, and we could turn it on its head. I think the deeper we explored first the pilot and then the season, the more we sort of realized it was kind of the perfect show to describe the current moment that we're living in, where the like when I had dinner with Garth Ennis in the beginning, who we love. When I had dinner with Garth in like 2015, and I was like, what prompted you to create The Boys? And he said, I was really interested in what would happen if you took the worst of celebrity and the worst of politics and combined them, and how bad that would fuck over the common guy. And this was like before the election, and we were like, crazy idea, bro, but
in America, maybe in Ireland.
That shit doesn't roll here, but okay. And so the show, and all that stuff, but the show is really about what happens when you use celebrity to manipulate people, and you use your power to make the common guy act against his own best interests. So it really became, and it's about autocrats and social media, and it's really become, in a really scary way, The Boys is a funny superhero show, but it's also like an incredibly accurate reflection of the world we are living in.
Yeah.
As a celebrity, I related to that. I was a huge fan of Garth since I was in high school. Me and Evan just read everything he produced, and I remember being I was at CinemaCon in around 2007, sitting at a table with executives from Sony and Neil Moritz saying, there's this comic called The Boys that you guys should buy and let us make it into a movie. And they were like, oh, that's a cool idea. And they bought it, and then they hired Adam McKay to make it into a movie. And then that never happened, and it just kind of wasn't right for that. It was something that we always just chased, and we just kind of kept raising our hand every few years, and then many years later, after I'm sure they exhausted every more reasonable option,
they found us.
They found us, and we're like, hey, Garth and us worked very well together on Preacher, and continue to, and it's hard to look someone who makes shit this crazy in the eye and be like, you'll like the show, you'll like it, like we promise, we'll do justice all the insanity that you've, like, for some weird reason you've thought of in your head. And I felt like we could actually do that and be honest, and that was the reason that we tried to do it. But it all was born out of being fans of Garth's and the comic.
Well, you brought up a really good point, because I think for people here, and obviously we're all fans of this world, fans of comic books, fans of the space, the show gives you everything you want from a superhero show. It's like incredibly actiony, it's really muscular, there's comedy, it's dark, it's explosive, but then there's this other set of questions that I think we've all asked ourselves as superhero fans or as comic book fans, which is like, what happened? Like, first of all, who's paying for this fucking invisible jet? And these stealth fucking underground water layers, and that guy, like, well, how's that? That guy ruined his suit. How's he paying for another fucking suit? He doesn't have a job. So it's asking those questions, right? And it's also asking the questions about, like, what happens when a superhero flies through a fucking skyscraper and bursts the top off of it? Like, were there people in there? Like, hey guy, that was my office. My pictures of my kids were in there. Like, thanks a lot. So it's asking these questions that we kind of tend to ignore when we love this space and we enjoy this space entertainment-wise. And who pays for all this stuff? Will enter Vought.
Yeah.
The corporation that subsidizes these superheroes, pays for their suits, pays for their room and board, and then kind of farms out potentially their services to the highest bidder. So tell us a little bit about Vought, and I have here that I should start with Starlight, but I actually want to start quickly with Stonewall's character, who was originally a man in the books, and is now played by the brilliant Elizabeth Shue. Character was brought to you. I mean, it's still a very muscular character, but tell me a little bit about, like, how you saw the character when it was first. About the character when they first brought to you, and how you felt about playing Stillwell.
Oh, you're asking me? Asking Eric. I loved playing Madeline Stillwell. She's awesome. She's so powerful, and she loves her power. She's drunk with power. And I just had such a fun time. My relationship with Anthony, who plays Homelander, very complicated, very twisted.
Yeah.
And
Keep going.
it was just a joy to play her. Really, I'm glad it's not a man. Much more interesting being a woman, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is a book called The Boys, and it's a show called The Boys, but the female characters are incredibly strong and incredibly dynamic, and that does bring me to Starlight, who is this sweet, innocent, Midwestern superhero. She's like a hometown, homegrown superhero who really believes in doing the right thing, and she has to kind of hold on to her moral compass, which she's surrounded by a lot of broken toys. So tell me a little bit about the beginning of Starlight's journey and what she comes up against.
Yeah, it was cool because I think like the script itself, I was reading her character at first and I was like, all right, you know, she's gonna satisfy the appetite we all have for like that young, earnest, ingenue superhero. And she ends up defying everything you expect of her, and I love that. You can't put her into a box. But when you first meet her, she is inherently naive because there's so much going on behind closed doors that she couldn't possibly be privy to. So she's then exposed to the reality of this world that she's idolized for so long. I mean, she has to decide whether she's going to be defeated by it or she's going to kind of maintain her objective throughout all of it, which is just fight crime amidst a world where, ironically, like the people who are meant to be fighting crime are just like fueling it and super corrupt. And it just is like, even within like the pilot alone, reading that arc, I was really excited by it. And yeah, she's faced with some like a really difficult situation just in the first episode that I think a lot of young women are going to be able to relate to. And we all know she's a good person. She doesn't deal with it in the way that most people would deem, you know, the morally good route to go about dealing with the situation, but it ends up empowering her ultimately. And so it's a very unconventional arc and not what you expect. And that's what kind of like I loved about her the most. Yeah, it's just really cool.
Yeah, she represents the superhero that I think we all are used to, which is someone with an almost unwavering moral compass, right? We always think Superman's always going to do the right thing, and he's a good guy. He's never going to make a mistake. He's essentially good, but these are all human beings with superpowers. And the show asks the question, what happens when you give a mortal person immortality? Who do they become? Are we naturally good or are we naturally bad? And that brings me to the Deep. James' character. You know, this guy, when we meet this guy, he's not our favorite guy.
What are you talking about? Yeah. What are you talking about?
But he also, I mean, he's a guy with some complexity, and he really develops over the series. What drew you to this character? I mean, this is a guy who's both frustrated with his place in the Seven, and also using those powers. He's wielding those powers over other people in a pretty hardcore way.
Yeah, you know, I just wanted to break out of what I've done in the past and do something completely different, which this turned out to be. But no, in reality, I mean, I obviously read that, you know, Seth and Cookie and Evan were attached, and I read some of the sides, and they were very, very funny. I didn't know that this particular scene was going to be in there, and you know, it's dark, obviously in a way, but just because we're a superhero show doesn't mean we can't talk about real issues through that lens. And I think that it was interesting to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. And you know, as the series goes along, yeah, there's definitely some more lighthearted moments with the Deep, and
yeah,
see why, yeah, to put it mildly, but you can see, you know, it peels back some of the layers as to you know what kind of makes this guy so deeply insecure. And he's a very complicated guy, and I think he's kind of a bit of an identity crisis, and you know, he's not very self-aware. I mean, he's kind of, you know, floated through life, and we are sort of making fun. It's fun to make fun of the sort of, you know, the male privilege guy who's been spoon-fed and is this celebrity, and yeah.
Yeah, this show really, I think keeps slicing through the concept of celebrity, of fame and celebrity, and what it does to people and how it changes people. And Jesse, your character, A-Train, is the epitome of kind of the hot, famous, good-looking guy who is really struggling in his private life. I mean, yeah, he's like, yes, again, I'm hot, I'm famous, I'm good-looking, what else you got? You have one of the most extraordinary series entrances in television history.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Very explosive entrance into the series. Necessary though, you know what I mean? You know from the very beginning that there's something else going on with him other than what he shows on the surface. Like you said, you know, he's, in his mind, on top of the world. He's like super famous, he's extremely athletic, he's the #1 fastest guy in the world, and he will do any and everything that it takes to make sure that that doesn't change. But you know, change is inevitable, and that's what you see him have to deal with time and time again.
You hear all of these characters say things that we've heard in our actual lives from people we work with. You know, this is my brand. I need to keep feeding my social media. I need to, you know, like I'm this person in private, but in public, this is the face I have to show the world. I think everybody feels that way. You know, I'm sure people with like 9 Instagram followers are like, you know, but this is off brand for me right now. And so, at every point in the story, there's something relevant that feels really true to real life. Anthony Homelander is a really interesting character because he's the one. He's Captain. He's Captain. He's our Captain.
Captain.
Just not going to refer. It's a different franchise.
In New Zealand, we say captain.
Yes. So yeah.
I like full words.
Okay. Yes. English to British.
I'm very slow. I can't keep up.
But he's, of all of the characters, I think, the guy who's living the most veiled existence. I mean, he's really leaning into who he wants the world to believe him to be in a really hardcore way, but he's maybe the guy with the deepest secrets and the most pain. And tell me a little bit about Homelander's inner conflict and how has it been to play? Because everybody's dark on the show, and if I were James Brown, I'd give you the cake. What's that?
I'm a little ray of sunshine.
Oh, are you though?
Yeah! I'm glad we got to this. He's the most misunderstood character on the show. I know, because you guys haven't seen the show yet, but just get ready. He's warm, loving, caring, paternal, really cares for the servant, likes taking care of his people. You know, he's a very complex, loving man with serious Oedipal issues for Madeline Stillwell, aka Elizabeth Shue. So that was crazy. The shit we got up to, the places like her fingers went in my mouth. It was disgusting, and yet somehow it stayed with me. And I see her again today, and I'm like, oh, yeah, and part of me is like, I'm enjoying sitting on this table, but I need to be next to you. Just like, wow, where have you been? What's going on? Whose fingers have you had your mouth around?
Let's have somebody's fingers in your mouth. You never forget.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm talking shit.
That brings us to the boys. Because the titular characters of the show, who are, you know, they're the anti-heroes to our heroes, although we can't really figure out who the heroes are and who the anti-heroes are in this show. Everybody's got their complexity, everybody's got their darkness. For the EPs and for the cast, before we dig into the characters, what is the prime motivation for the boys? Why are they out to get the Supes?
They're all basically the little guy. Like, they're the blue-collar 99%. And in one way or another, they've all been fucked over by these massive tectonic plates of power from corporations or the superheroes, and they just kind of get ground under the wheel as just collateral that aren't given a second thought. Like in our world, now there's massive forces that are grinding us, and they don't particularly care about our well-being. And so these guys all, to one way or another, suffered personally, either at the hands of Vought or the superheroes. But what makes them different is they've decided to fight back against the 1% of the 1%.
And these are people who are fighting the most powerful beings on the planet with no powers. Well, they have 1% with something. You know, it's typically the female that got all the powers. It's female that's making it clear. Let's talk a little bit, Jack, about Huey, because Huey is an absolutely regular guy who did not choose this life for himself.
Did not want it at all, no.
No, and resisted pretty vigorously.
You're welcome.
But you're galvanized by a terrible thing that happens to your character, and you're drawn into this world, like, against your will, but you're driven by grief and lots of other things. And I guess I just want to know, like, what is it that, and Huey and Billy Butcher have something similar. They share an anguish, which I think is what fuels them. And that's not a question, but feel free to answer.
Well, they do. No, I think what Carl and I really dove into was that it's such a little brother, older brother relationship, and I think Huey's a guy that lacks a certain confidence. He doesn't really stand up for himself, and that's literally all that Butcher does. And so there's something about that that's appealing to him once he got, fucked over by the Supes. But yeah, he's just thrown into this world, and he has to make a lot of morally ambiguous decisions and react off of those, and that's just been fascinating to track that episode by episode. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, Billy he's got his own pain that he's nursing, his own motivations, but I think he both sees a kindred spirit in Huey, and also it's a way to turn the screws. I mean, he wants to leverage you, he wants to weaponize you, and he does weaponize you. You guys have this really great dynamic. It's a little bit of like a buddy cop show on your side of things. How did you be able to establish that back and forth? I mean, obviously Carl's a delight to be around.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Totally, yeah. Yes, he's great.
Did it take you a while to establish that dynamic with each other, or?
Well, one of the first times we first met up was at a bar in Toronto called the Dog's Bollocks, and it literally has a bulldog on the awning that looked exactly like Terror. So we got together there, and
we played pool for money, and I took a lot off him, and I thought, we're gonna be good friends.
I had to do the show after that. I lost everything.
Billy Butcher, Carl, is this kind of irresistible poison pill. Like, everything he touches turns to shit. But like in a fun kind of shit. Like a party shit. Those are the best kinds of shits, really. Like, sometimes there's sprinkles in them.
You're shitting at a party, you've made some mistakes.
Have you though? What do you think is, like, for Butcher, like in the beginning, what do you think is his primary motivation? What do you think is driving him forward? And does that change over the life of the series?
Yeah, well, the thing that's driving Butcher is he's got an axe to grind. He's on a mission of justice, vengeance. He's got a vendetta against Homelander for something that Homelander has done to him. And Billy he finds this young kid who works in an audio-visual store and recognizes that something similar has happened to him, and then also recognizes that this is a wonderful opportunity to manipulate this kid into doing something really dangerous. and that is kind of, to achieve Butcher's goal, and the idea is Butcher's just going to use this kid and then dump him and sort of, head towards his supreme goal, which is to take down Homelander and the Seven. But as you said, everything that Billy touches inevitably turns to shit. And so it propels us on this fun, crazy, wacky, fun journey that has a whole lot of twists and turns. And but ultimately, there's this incredible sort of relationship that forms between these two characters who are like chalk and cheese. And just a little.
It's not an American. It's not an American.
Chalk and cheese? Chalk and cheese? Is that not something that you...
Keep going, Carl. It makes perfect sense.
Forever. But
you're bang on, mate.
You just don't understand how chalk and cheese is.
Is that just a New Zealand thing, Tony?
It's perfectly fine. What you did was not a foul. Everyone else can be quiet.
As you pointed out, Huey is this very sweet guy who's dealing with a lot in his life. And we're going to take a quick look at a clip of Huey interacting with his father. Who is incredible in this series. Family's really important in the show. The family that you were born into, the family that you choose. Laz, your character, Mother's Milk, is a family man. He's the voice of reason, to an extent, anyway, with the boys. And what's great about there's no real straight man in this group. I mean, everybody's mayhem filled. Talk a little bit about your relationship to Billy, because you have a history that comes into very intense play as we move through the series. You guys have had some stuff go down in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Billy and Mother's Milk go way back. They served together in the military. They've done this dance before. There was a big situation that happened that made the boys have to disband one time before this. And now Butcher comes back into Mother's Milk's life after he put it together. So I would say out of all the boys, Mother's Milk really is the only one that has something to lose at this point, which always makes him, whether he likes it or not, the moral compass of the group. And because he has something to lose, he's the one that's trying to keep these guys from completely going batshit crazy.
Yeah, you're the adult. You're the adult.
It's the mama of the group.
Yeah.
We're raising Huey together.
That's nice. This is the family you choose.
Anytime.
Tomer, your character, Frenchie. First of all, Tomer is, your accent is so good that I was just super sure you were French.
Oh, merci beaucoup. Comicon. Comment ça va?
Merci à vous, monsieur. Et bienvenue. Frenchie is, well, you know, Frenchie's so French, man. I mean, this is a guy who's surrounded by mayhem and death, but still finds time to be a romantic.
First of all, I find it to be rude for you saying so French. Couldn't think of you. No, the truth is that I was talking about family. Frenchie, I guess, is kind of the teenager of the family. And with a family that his mother is Mother's Milk, and father is Billy Butcher, that's something. So much fun.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Mother's Milk is the head or the brain, and Billy Butcher is the id or the ego. You're the heart. Yeah, I just analyzed the boys. Yeah, get at me. Everybody kind of functions in a certain way. You're really the heart of the group. You're the compassionate person. Yeah.
And thinking of ideas as well,
Yeah, also blowing things up. And taking substances, legal and illegal, or maybe previously not even invented yet. And that heart draws into the female. Karen plays the female, one of the most badass female anti-superhero characters in the history of the space.
Thank you.
She's amazing. Now, when we meet you, I mean, I think the only entrance more extraordinary than A-Trains is the females. When we meet you, some crazy shit goes down.
Yeah, you're right. That was actually my audition scene. It was so funny. I'm in a cage and I'm kind of crawling on the ground. And when I first read the sides for it, I was thinking, I don't know if I can get there. Can I relate? But as soon as I started rehearsing, it was like it lived inside of me all along. I don't know how. Yeah, she's pretty badass.
She's awesome. She's awesome, and her evolution is really exciting because she's a living weapon, but she slowly becomes human again with the help of
finding her way back
to humanity with the help of Frenchie, who's the only person I think really sees through her kind of outer shell. Yeah, it's amazing. Now this supergroup comes together under the tutelage of Billy Butcher, and they're struggling to coalesce, they're struggling to gel, right? There's a lot of conflict in the group, and Billy at one point just has to kind of snap everybody out of it, so he gives them a little pep talk. And you can recognize some of the stuff he's talking about. Let's take a look. I think that scene is really emblematic of how funny and dark and enjoyable the show is, and how surprising it continues to be throughout the 8 episodes. And it brings us to the music. I don't know if you guys know one of the other shows that Eric Kripke worked on, this show called Supernatural. I don't know. He created that show, and if you know that show, you know that show is a character on that show is the music. And that was really kind of like 70s anthem heavy, SBN. This show is super super punk. That's the vibe I'm getting from this show, super punk. So tell me about how you, and by the way, I feel like you're spending all of the music budget for every show on Amazon Prime on your show. Yeah, because you're getting all the real stuff. Tell me a little about how you guys chose the music for the show, and it's because it's so good.
Yeah, no, music's super important to us, and so we really we spent a lot of time trying to get the right stuff and finding the right vibe, and it actually wasn't until editing that, because I listen to a lot of music, and I'm a big music head, I guess, and I happened to
music head?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's an expression.
I'm gonna go. Chalk and cheese is a fucking expression. Yeah, chalk and cheese is a fucking expression. Hey, I'm going to music head, motherfucker.
Big old music head.
I'm a big old music head.
Big old music head.
Anyway, I was listening to punk, and then I suddenly pictured, I was like, oh shit, Billy was 18 years old in East London, listening to punk in a bar and beating the piss out of people, and it suddenly clicked as to in a weird way of what Butcher's backstory probably was. And so we came in, and I was working with Dan Trachtenberg, who directed the pilot. And, yeah, give it up for Dan Trachtenberg really quick. And me and him and Seth and Evan, and we were like, punk! It's gonna be punk, because that speaks to, one, it speaks to Butcher's backstory, but also the show is anarchy, and it's subversion, and it's about bringing down the establishment, and punk kind of does all of those things. And then, I can say now, because now season 2 is public, then in season 2, we spent some time with Huey's side music, which is all Billy Joel. So it's like you were able to create a contrast through good music of really different people. Chalk, cheese.
Punk and Joel.
Punk and Joel.
The music on the show is incredible. It is its own character. It's incredibly percussive and evocative, and I really do think it encapsulates the show, which is just this very hardcore, moving, runaway train of energy.
Oh, and also Chris Leonard, who might be in the audience, but who's our composer. We told him garage band up the music, so he went out and bought a bunch of shitty instruments, and he played them with on shitty old amplifiers, and captured the whole punk vibe even in the music. So
it's so good. In a few minutes, we're gonna go to audience questions. So if you guys want to start thinking about something super awesome to ask these guys,
or just fine,
or just say, yeah, or heart jokes, whatever you got. But I want to ask a question. This is for the entire cast because this is really two teens fighting each other and weaponizing themselves against each other. It has to be a really physically demanding show. I mean, both the superheroes and the non-superheroes are doing pretty hardcore physical work. What was that like for you? Did anybody, was this their first time doing stunts or fighting? For anybody, was this a new thing?
It's the first time doing stunts like this.
Yeah, pulling tights.
We're playing super characters, so it's although my guy's an athlete and I've done athletic roles before, this guy's doing stuff that's out of this world, you know what I mean? I've never, I don't want to give anything away, because there's some pretty big reveals for the way that he trains for a race and things like that, but it's all stuff that, has never been seen before, it's never been done before. Sometimes I walked on set and I was like, alright, how is this shit gonna work? Because, I'll tell you something, I can lift weights, hell, I'm not doing this, and they're like, don't worry, we'll figure it out.
Oh, sorry.
Some movie magic going on in there, included with the stunts to kind of make it all come together.
Aaron, had you ever done stunts before?
I've done stunts, but not in the world of fighting. And we have this awesome stunt coordinator named T-Fong, and he made sure that we could at least some of us could physically embody these characters. So leading up to filming, I did a boxing training with him. And then I remember we had one night shoot early on in season 1 where I had an entire fight sequence, and I'd never done that before, and I loved it so much more than I expected. This is not, I'll take boxing boot camp classes, but that's pseudo boxing. This was the real deal, and I loved, it was cathartic. It was really fun, so I liked it more than I expected.
Yeah, I think the stunts on the show feel very, they feel very natural inherent to the show. They don't feel you know what I mean? Now we're just having a fight scene!
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to our stunt coordinator who made sure that like I said, he wanted us to just kind of have that physicality like inherently in us, like as much as possible, leading up to filming and during it.
How was it for you, Karen? Because you do a lot of, you break a lot of hearts in this show. Like actually with your hands, you break them in half.
Yeah, no, it's been really exciting, ripping people's eyes open and, you know, things that you don't get to do in real life. Super fun.
It's got a dark side.
Love it. But now that we've announced season 2, I can say it, I'm doing more wire work for season 2. And season 1 was mostly hand-eye coordination, like fighting or real life. And then in season 2, I get to like jump off of things and run on things on wires. So it's a new challenge, but it's so fun.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then Jack, of course, you get to like, you know, like type on computers.
Yeah. Gotta learn how to type on computers for this, totally. You know, think about the physical stuff, they all got this like superhero training, how to fight. I had one session with Teague where I was taught how to get hit and flail in the correct way. So that was my training.
And you can get hit really well, bro.
Okay.
I've accidentally hit you many times and you take it like a man. Like a champ.
It takes it like you.
Doing fight stuff is not my favorite thing to do, because inevitably you do end up getting banged up and you're whipping your head around like pretending that you've been hit, and you know you inevitably end up getting, you know, a headache. We shot this fight sequence recently and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to preload. I'll take 2 Tylenol and I will ward off the headache before it comes. So we get halfway through this incredible fight and my head is pounding. I'm like, what is going on? I'm really struggling. So I go back to my travel bag, I take a couple more, I have 2 more, and I'm sitting there and my hands are in my head and pounding. And I look at the bottle, it's Benadryl. I've taken 4 antihistamines. I take one of these to go to sleep if I'm traveling. So then I pop the Tylenol, went back to set, and I was wasted. That's gonna be good.
You can breathe really well through your nose.
All right, yeah.
Allergies have cleared up.
The Deep just swims a lot.
I kind of wanted to be in the water more, but I was very disappointed. You know, like knee high, you know, it was great.
Yeah, we always kind of catch you like just directly post-swim, where you're just kind of glistening on a dock or something like that.
It spritz me down a little bit, you know.
Just wet.
Yeah.
And then Homelander he just floats and like cuts people in half with his eyeballs too. So
It's true, actually. I did an action show for 4 years, and like Cal's saying, it's brutal. Like, you need an ice bath for 2 weeks after a fight. And thank you, Banshee fan. I think we're I heard you both. Yeah, it's really brutal, and this is just the best job ever. I just stand around, I tell people what to do, I laser people in half now and then. I don't have to do any of the stunts. It's great. It's really great. I really like it. And the wire work is fun too, and I'm having a ball.
and I think arguably the most powerful person on the show is Madeline Stowell, who doesn't have to laser anybody in half, but just eliminates their line item in the budget. Yeah, she's the Svengali running this whole thing, and I think you're going to be really excited at where this character goes. It's an extraordinary series, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Right now, we're going to go to the audience, unless you want to say something about how badass Stillwell is. She's a working mom too. That's hardcore.
Yes, she is. I gave birth at 43 in real life, but Madeline Stillwell made me like 47. About there.
She has science on her side.
But she has superpowers as well, and she thinks she's a superhero.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about her. She's really not mortal. You spend enough time with celebrities, you think you might be one too.
Yeah, that's true. She's got more BDE than everybody else on the show. All right, let's open it up to questions. Oh, there we go. Okay, say your name and ask your question. Hi.
Hi. My name is Jill. Thanks, panel, for coming, and I hope to see some of y'all tonight at the Boys Party. Anthony, a huge Lucas Hood fan, so I just wanted to say thank you particularly for coming. I wanted to know for the whole panel, what drew you to this project, and was it the atypical nature of the superhero genre? And without spoilers, what has been your best moment to date for your character?
It's like an essay question for the SATs.
And group
For me, I guess what drew me to it was reading a script that was unlike anything that I'd read before, and was just a great counter narrative to the Marvel DC stuff that's out there. And
that you're also in.
Yeah, so anyway, you can have it all, everybody. But it was the characters. I mean, there was stuff in the script that I had never seen on television or film before, and I was drawn to the characters, and particularly the character of Billy the Butcher, who was this sort of funny, manipulative, dark, Machiavellian scoundrel, and I thought, that's gonna be fun. So that's what drew me.
For me, just reading the script initially, I wasn't aware when I first read it that it was based off a comic. I thought Eric just made a script about the world as it is today and then inserted superheroes into it. And so that really drew me in. And then, like Carl said, my character, Huey, I felt like I could really relate to him. And it was just super special. I loved it.
Yeah.
Super special. Super special. Love it. Love it. I think what drew me to the project was how different it was from what we've been watching. Its difference and uniqueness is what drew me to the show. And I think a pivotal moment for my character was when she met Frenchie.
For me, what drew me in was I grew up on the A-Team. You know, big fan. So Eric let me add a little gold to Mother's Milk, which Calvin was a little, ode to Mr. T, who I was one of my childhood heroes. So that's really what drew me in when I read this. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is modern day A-Team. And just pivotal moment for my character for me is pretty much every episode. I mean, every episode we really are defying such humongous odds, and it's just the teamwork that we display as a unit, is what makes it so tasty and gratifying.
For me, of course, these guys over there, I mean, the material was unbelievable. When you read it, you can't believe that it's really going to happen and we're going to actually do those scenes. Other than that, learning French was a nice treat.
I was just so drawn to the insecurity in all of the characters and sort of vulnerability and innocence within all of us, that we become kind of these monsters in some ways, but we come from a place of deep need and desire, and we want to win so badly, but it comes from a pain inside. And I feel like that grounding of character in this kind of big, huge, funny genre really grounds it and makes it real.
I have to agree with Elizabeth. A lot of that is what drew me to it. It's like the complexity of these characters, the issues that they have to deal with, and the way that they do, being in the limelight, dealing with like real life issues, but having superpowers at the same time. It's just very complex. It's something that was like not really easy to wrap your head around. Eric and I had some pretty great conversations early on about how to even fathom putting yourself into this character's shoes, and I just knew like every day was going to be a discovery process, and it just seemed like something that you definitely not going to be bored doing, that's for sure. So it was an easy yes for me.
Yeah, I just liked the commentary our show makes on a lot of aspects of society, and I just really kind of jumped on board with the idea of doing that, and then yet getting to like sink my teeth into a genre that's like kind of a childhood dream being actualized, to like put this super suit on at the beginning of the day and just like having that, putting it on automatically makes me feel like this character. And then frankly, like I think there's a place for them, but I'm a little tired of the ingenue role. Like I'm a little tired of like young women being just the love interest, just kind of shiny object of desire that is just not, I think we're just like we have been oversaturated by that, and you think that's what my character is going to be, and she's not. And so I remember just being so pleasantly surprised by the script and the turns it took, and just kind of like pushing the envelope. I just feel like, I don't know, it's just really fun to be a part of something that's like juicy in terms of the genre it's in, but also like there's a depth to it in terms of the commentary on the political world we live in and the entertainment industry, and it's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Spandex lasers and cool boots.
That's a Homelander answer right there.
Honestly, like, it's a fucking amazing team, right? So that's a no-brainer. These guys are all awesome, so there's every reason to do it because of that. But seriously, like, where else are you gonna get to kill people and trash things? And, you know, we cakewalk through life being careful and everyone's doing the right thing. Then we come to work and we just fuck shit up. I mean, it's great. What a job, right? It's awesome. And the boots. Those red boots. I've tried to steal them so many times. And Spandex.
Just I read that there was an aquatic superhero called the Deep, and that was it for me. No, I mean, just repeating everything everyone else has said. I mean, it's like the anti-narrative, getting to sort of satirize superheroes a little bit, but in a very grounded way, and the comedy come from that. It's also very dark. There's something else like it. It's extremely original. I read the pilot; it was phenomenal, and I was sold instantly on the story. So there you go.
I have to tell you guys that this is the superhero show that you've been waiting for, because I just never have seen anything like it. It's so radically different from what people have been doing previously. It's dark, it's funny, it has incredible action in it. The ideas about politics and growing up in America in the age of social media and drug use and everything is just such a smart, funny show. And there's also like sex and stuff, and it's like, you know, it's just everything you wanted, everything you've ever wanted from a superhero show. It premieres 1 week from today on Amazon Prime Video, Friday, July 26th. Those of you who are here in San Diego tonight, please know that there is a very special activation here in town at 7 o'clock at the Prime Experience at MLK University. You can watch the first 2 episodes of this series. So
we'll all be there, so party with us tonight.
Whole cast and crew are gonna be there.
Shots on us!
And
drinks on us!
Drinks on Amazon!
They're not paying for the drinks at all. None of you are paying for the drinks. It's a great show, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Please give it up one more time for the team from The Boys.